In this episode, we visit the historic port city of San Blas,
Hola, bienvenidos.
eat lunch at a Mexican McDonald's, see some very splashy whales,
Wow!
we catch a fish, and we tour colorful Chacala. We're Charlie and LeeAnne, a couple from California who left our cushy suburban life to spend the next several years cruising around the Pacific Ocean on our boat, Juliet. And our little dog, too. We left off last episode with Juliet and Boundless enjoying several days in beautiful Ensenada de Matanzan. We enjoyed boozy coconuts at the fantastic oceanfront palapas, took walks on the beach, and made some very toothy new friends on a river tour. After all that water-based excitement, it was time for a road trip. We grabbed a taxi from Matanzan for about a 15-minute ride into the municipality of San Blas. Once considered the most important naval station in New Spain, San Blas is now a port, fishing center, and a tourist destination that hasn't really been discovered yet by the gringos. But it has a lot to see, including a really lovely town square, some very old and interesting churches, and a really cool flea market. After wandering around the downtown area and taking in the fishing port, we got hungry for lunch, and what better place to grab a bite than McDonald's? Oh, wait, you thought we were having burgers? This was actually quite a nice restaurant with excellent chili rellenos. After lunch, we walked to the famous fort in the center of San Blas called Fuerte Contaduria. This fort on a hill dates back to the 1700s and was a key battleground during the war that gave independence to Mexico. It's considered a true emblem of courage and Mexican pride. In addition to seeing the old battle apparatus, it's also got a great view of the city. There's also the skeleton of an old cathedral there. There's not much left of it, but we just love historical artifacts, so it made for some good wandering. And we sure love to wander.
Hola, bienvenidos.
Well, that was nice. It was a fun day in San Blas. Always nice to see some history and, the culture and experience the inland of Mexico since we spend all the time on the water. Anyway, time to go on to the next destination. So, what did you think about Matanzan overall? Pros and cons?
Oh, it's a great, typical Pacific beach where you anchored in relatively shallow water, good holding, nice big sand beach, and it was easy to land the dinghy. So it was a great spot, a good place to get used to anchoring off the Pacific side of Mexico.
Yeah, I'd heard that it could get very rolly, but I didn't find that it was too rolly at all. I was very comfortable. I actually sleep really well when we have a little bit of rolly going on. I really liked the beach palapas. The beach itself was very nice. I could not deal with the jejenes. That was the worst part about it. And of course, the river tour was a blast, but I am just covered with jejene bites, and I hope that the next place that we go doesn't have jejenes. But anyway, I very much enjoyed Matanzan.
And I didn't get any bites, so
I'm obviously sweeter. So waving goodbye to Matanzan, and hopefully those horrid jejenes, we headed further down the Mexican mainland coast, looking forward to new frontiers. Our next destination, Chacala, which is one of those bucket list anchorages that we've been hearing about for many years.
We just left Bahia Matanchen, and we're going 22 miles down the coast to Ensenada de Chacala, which is supposed to be a really nice village, kind of a fishing village, and it's not very big, but we're going to go check it out. It's supposed to be beautiful. You may notice that I'm navigating using my iPad instead of the chart plotter. That's because the Navionics chart chip that I loaded on the B&G chart plotter does not have detail that goes past Mazatlan. I thought it went all the way to Puerto Vallarta, but it only has detail to Mazatlan. So our iPhone, iPads have detail all through Mexico. So we use this until I can get a new chip that covers the rest of Mexico for the chart plotter. There's no wind today, so we're motoring all 22 miles. And we're also buddy boating with Boundless, who's up ahead of us. And it should be a beautiful day. Take us 4.5 hours maybe to get to the next anchorage, and then we'll check it out.
So my goal today, catch a fish. I'm going to catch a fish. I'm gonna catch a freaking fish. The wind never filled in, so we motored for the whole way. But we had plenty to keep us entertained as we came upon a pod of the splashiest whales we've seen yet. We couldn't get close enough for good shots, but you can see them off in the distance. Wow! Dead ahead! Whoa! Wow! What's he doing? Not sure what this is. These yellow spots, I don't know. And he's not very big. I don't know if it's worth keeping. I'm gonna have to look in the book.
Just let him go.
Really?
Yeah.
There could be some meat on there.
Well, there was definitely meat on there, but I think you should let him go.
Why? If it's something edible, I can get some meat off this thing. Now, if you get me my knife, I can kill him and bleed him. I caught a Pacific Sierra mackerel. Not very big, but there's definitely enough for one good fish taco meal here. Okay, I just filleted him. Here's the results. Here's one of the fillets. So that's just the one. So yeah, that's definitely more than enough for a good fish taco meal. So I'm pretty happy. I caught a fish, finally! Woo! Now I can shut up about it. It was actually bigger than I thought. I just have caught so few fish, I have no perspective. I got enough for 2 great meals out of them. Rather than do fish tacos, I wrapped the fillets in foil along with lemons, garlic, and white wine, and then grilled them along with some fresh veggies. We ended up with a really delicious fish dinner. Charlie was not unhappy. He's not too interested in the catching and cleaning part, but he sure doesn't mind the results. Anyway, by then we dropped anchor in Chacala and enjoyed our fish dinner along with the sunset in a charming anchorage that would turn out to be one of our favorites so far. Before we started our cruising adventure, when we would imagine what life would be like cruising in Mexico, I think this is the anchorage that we were dreaming of. Clear blue waters lapping at a white sand tropical beach surrounded by lush green vegetation, palm trees, and a colorful beach town to boot. This seashell-shaped bay was discovered in 1524 by Captain Francisco de Cortes de San Buenaventura. The near-virgin beaches of Chacala, Mexico have been welcoming visitors of all kinds ever since. It was late in the cruising season by now,
Plus, of course, there are fewer cruisers due to the pandemic, so we had this huge anchorage almost to ourselves. Just us, Boundless, and a couple of other sailboats. At the north end of the anchorage is a small dock, mostly used by fishermen, and a tiny beach which was perfect for dinghy landings as it was protected from the ocean swells. The town itself is a jumble of colorful homes and boutique hotels, clambering up into the hillside. And then a long stretch of perfect beach, culminating in a couple of very upscale cliffside hotels. Some of the homes here are pretty luxurious, but can you blame the affluent for wanting to live here? I mean, look at this place. On the main part of the beach are more of those quintessential thatch roof seafood palapas, like the ones in Batanchen, only these were definitely more upscale. So, after landing our dinghy, our first order of business was lunch on the beach. As it turns out, the name Chacala literally means where there are shrimp, and let me assure you, the seafood here was out of this world. Then it was time to see the rest of Chacala and do what we love best, wander. What we found were adorable boutique hotels, spas, and all manner of colorful homes. It was pretty empty of tourists, owing of course to COVID, which meant we could wander without crowds. There were a few abarrotes, which are small grocery stores selling a limited supply of food staples and produce. This was great, as there were no stores in Batanchen and we needed to reprovision. Oh, and the mangoes here were the best I've had anywhere. We also found an organic bakery selling mouth-watering cinnamon rolls and fantastic bread, all made without yeast using only sourdough starters. So we stocked up on that too. And then back to the beach. We were completely enchanted with Chacala, and we spent several days here. That's all for this week. Be sure to come back next episode as we leave this paradise to set sail for Punta de Mita. And this time we get wind. We enjoy some of our best sailing yet. And along the way, we finally get to see whales up close, and they're breaching. If you're enjoying our videos and want to help support our channel, please consider becoming a patron. You can find us on Patreon at the address below, or click the link in the video description. And don't forget to subscribe. Also, we love it when we get comments, so please tell us what you think.